and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I am a part-time reseller on POSHMARK. And in today's video, I'm actually going to cover brands that are selling for me, brands that I continually pick up time and time again because they continue to sell for me every time I put them in my closet. And I know a lot of you were asking for this video because I actually did 2 videos recently on brands that I don't pick up anymore that aren't selling for me. Now, if you want to see those videos, you can check those out, but this is going to be basically brands that I continue to pick up that continue to sell for me. I basically went into my closet insights for the last year and I was able to identify those top selling brands that just continually sell. And some of them are really cheap brands that you wouldn't really think to pick up. Other brands are, you know, stable brands. So let's just get right into it and go through the list. I'll go in order from brands that have made me the most money in the last 12 months to, you know, some lesser but still really good brands that have made me some good money. Okay, so the first brand that has actually sold the most for me in the last so many months, I guess in the last year or so, is actually American Eagle. And I've said this on the start, and actually American Eagle is my top selling brand overall on Poshmark over a 5-year period. So that should really go to tell you that that brand sells. And so I continually pick it up when I find it for $1 or, you know, anything like that. And I also sell some of my personal clothes from American Eagle as well. So I have those pieces coming in. They just sell well. They're really well-made pieces. I love their styles. And you know, their materials are great as well. I'm actually wearing pants from American Eagle right now. So I really do swear by picking American Eagle up. It's not normally that expensive when you can thrift it, so it's always a good idea to pick it up. Now, it ranges in price for me, you know, selling it. I can put some in my $4 lives that I do, but I could also sell it, give or take, up to like $30, $40, depending on what the piece is. So I just highly recommend picking it up, and you may, you know, get somewhere in the middle of that price range that you could sell it for. Okay, so the next brand that is actually selling pretty well for me is Old Navy. So now this is a brand that I actually get a lot from family and friends, and I can find it in the thrift stores normally. And I used to not really pick it up that much, but then I was actually selling it in my $4 lives a lot, and then I actually had some pieces myself, and I was donated a bunch of pieces, and I actually found that it was flying off my closet, and a lot of the pieces that I have sell very quickly compared to a lot of other brands. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not really like the most expensive brand, it's not really the best brand out there, and as far as athletic brands, it's definitely like not super high. There's a lot of other ones out there that a lot of people swear by, and if you've heard my 2 videos on brands that I don't source anymore, actually most of the popular athletic brands I don't pick up because they don't sell, but I'll be the first one to pick up Old Navy because I know it will actually sell for me. So again, it varies in prices that I can sell it for. I normally can't sell it for too high, but again, I can still make a good profit on it when I pick it up. So I still swear by picking it up, and I really do think it's worth picking up in the end. Okay, so the next set of brands that I pick up all the time that actually sells really well for me is anything like vintage. So I have a bunch of vintage brands that I source that I just consider vintage instead of naming the brands. But those can include like Fashion Bug, The Limited, and stuff like that. And now this is interesting to me because I actually used to make fun of my family members and friends that, you know, used to shop at these stores back in the day, and I used to think their styles were interesting, and I actually found that I was selling them a lot recently, and they have really bold patterns a lot of the times, and they're, you know, they have shoulder pads in them, or they're like, you know, very vintage style pieces, but that's what's in now. People want that. And so I was actually selling a lot of them, and every time I would get clothes from a family friend who, you know, would give me bags and bags at the same time, I would fly through it, and I wouldn't actually be able to keep it in my closet that long. And so I was realizing that it was a good brand to sell, or like the vintage brands were good to sell. Now, I do think that selling them in the larger sizes is best. So anything large and above was selling best for me in those in that brand. But I do think vintage brands in general do sell really well for people. You just have to know how to list it to have the best luck with it. Okay, so the next brand that actually is selling really well for me in the last 12 months is UGG. So this is a brand that I can find at the Goodwill bins, the Goodwill. I've actually had some pieces that were given to me from people, and so I've actually had my fair share of luck with this brand. Now, I would say I haven't sold that many pieces from UGG, but I would say that the number in sales that this brand has brought in is pretty high, because I can normally sell it a little higher. And I actually have some Uggs in my closet now, but I've been selling a lot of Uggs recently. People love the style of Uggs, and so I've been selling a lot of those. I actually have an Ugg scarf that I'm selling as well, and I had an Ugg purse that I sold a couple of years ago. And I think just people like the brand. They know it's a good brand, and a lot of people don't want to pay full price for it. So if they can get it discounted on Poshmark, they're probably going to buy it. So that's another brand that I swear by picking up, because it really does sell for me. And especially this time of year when it's cold, people want to buy it. Okay, so this next one is actually pretty surprising to me, because I never really thought it would be a top brand in my closet, but it's actually Loft. So this is one of those brands that I never used to pick up, and all of a sudden I started picking it up at like the Goodwill bins or even on Dollar Day, and I actually started having a lot of luck with it, which is crazy, because I don't really think it's like a top tier brand or anything, but I do know that I've been having a lot of luck with it, and it's been selling in my lives, especially when it comes to like jeans, which I don't know anything about their jeans. I don't know if they're like good or not, but I've been having a lot of luck selling their jeans, and I've also been selling a lot of tops and dresses and things like that from that brand. So I'm gonna keep picking it up. I didn't think it was worth picking up for a while, but hey, if it's selling for me, I'm gonna keep picking it up, because that's what's bringing in the money. So if that's what's bringing in the money, then I'll just keep selling it. Okay, and the final brand that I'll talk about in this video, and if you want to see another video on more brands that I am going to continue to pick up that are also top sellers, I can make another one, but this one's getting pretty long, so I'm going to finish it off on this brand, and then we could always make another one later on. But the final brand that I'm going to talk about today is actually Nike. So Nike, again, just like Loft, was a brand that I never used to pick up. I thought it was just too saturated. I thought there was, you know, so many pieces out there. But I've actually found that I have an audience of people that really enjoys athletic, you know, brands, and people love Nike, and myself included. I love Nike. I've actually purchased some Nike things on Poshmark before myself, and I just really like their clothes, and they have, you know, good styles, and they're comfortable. So I think I'm going to continue to pick it up if I find it really cheap. And like I mentioned a couple videos ago, I only pick things up if they're like $1 or so. I never really pay any more than that for my inventory now. So normally I can find Nike for $1, and it's really worth picking up, because I could sell it from anywhere from, you know, a couple dollars to 30, 40, 50, give or take. So it's really worth picking up for me, and I can normally flip it pretty quickly. Now I do want to put a little disclaimer out there that some of these brands, I do have pieces in my closet that have been sitting for quite some time, but I think that just goes to show that maybe that style wasn't good, maybe that size wasn't good, maybe, you know, whatever else about that item. But I do think overall these brands do sell pretty quick for me. But I know I do have pieces in my closet right now from a lot of these brands that I've had for quite some time. So I'm not saying that every single piece that you find from these brands is going to sell, but it's important to find that, okay, well, these I'm having the most sales from, so they still are going to sell well for me, and maybe just start honing in on the sizes and the category of pieces that are selling, and then maybe try and stick to those as opposed to just a larger audience. I know for me, I have a hard time selling extra small, and I do have a lot of extra small in American Eagle and Loft and even Nike, and so those sell slower, but the overall brand has been selling for me, so I'm going to continue to pick it up. If you want to see a video that I did recently on how to deal with burnout as a Poshmark seller, I got a little bit vulnerable in that video, and I talked about really the struggles of being a seller, the struggles of slow sales and feeling like nothing's working. If you want to see that video, you can click right here. And if you want to see another video on different things that you should be doing on Poshmark that are going to help you have a lot of success, you can click right here. But until next time, I will see you then.